You are now tuned in to the motherfucking Ambition Hour podcast on Worth the Wait Radio. You ready?
Doug, 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 Doug T, Doug, Doug T, motherfucking Dub, ho.
Yo, and welcome to the Ambition Hour podcast. It's your girl, Adi 3000, and this is episode
I am having a very bad
93.
day. My brother Bomani Jones is in another booth looking at me. I love that brother. I don't want to talk to you today.
Doug T, Doug, 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 Doug T, motherfucking Dub, ho.
Hello, everybody, and welcome yet again to another episode of the Ambition Hour podcast. I am your beautiful, lovely host, Adi 3000, and as you can see, I am alone today. You guys have me all to yourselves today, and it's been a minute. I went back and I checked which episode was the last episode that I did a solo episode, and it was episode 76. That was quite a time ago. But I am very excited to be in front of you guys again, just me. I just want to say, first of all, thank you to Haven Spitz for being my co-host. This isn't a good this isn't an announcement that they're like being cut. No, it's just not that type of thing. We just decided that it would be cool, to bring back a solo episode so I could talk my shit with y'all without any rude ass interruptions from these boys. Shout out to Hav. He's my audiovisual. Meanwhile, I'm talking all this shit. Like he's like right next to me. I wanted to say what I was grateful for, and I am grateful for the relationship that I have with my dad. And it took me a while to think of it because I'm grateful for so many things, but just thinking back on my week that I had, I got to spend some real cool quality time with my dad on Saturday, and I did some as well last week. And as a woman, that relationship is something that I feel always can get stronger because sometimes that trickles down into the relationships that you have with other men. So I am very grateful for the relationship that I have with my dad and how open I am with him, and how, just like how I continue to learn more about him, he continues to learn more about me. And it's just awesome. So I'm very, very grateful for that. This past week I got my life together and started going to the gym again. I had taken like a week off around the time that my aunt was here, and so that kind of like threw me off. And then the week after I wasn't very consistent with going, but this week I've been very consistent and I'm really happy, seeing amazing results. My body continues to change. That hypes me up because hello, who does not like results? Ain't nothing like getting in that dress that you've worn before and seeing, that waist snatched all the way, and then the booty looking right and everything. Excited. To all my ladies who know what I'm talking about, you know the feeling. Fellas, I mean, y'all know when y'all bicep, when that back, when that's looking right, you feeling right. So make sure that you are following and chasing your goals. We have not even 60 days left for the new year. So make sure that you end it strong, whatever your goals were at the beginning of the year. I'm not saying to rush to them, but you should do something about them. Or if not, I mean, there's always 2020. I don't want to say that you have time because I am not the mother of your time. So I don't know these things, but I do know that there's a little bit of time left in 2019. So make the best of it. Crash those goals. And if you are listening to us for the very first time, welcome. Ding. Make sure that you join the WT fam and hit the subscribe button as well as the little bell on the side, that we get notified each and every single time that we drop a new episode. If you are listening to us on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Deezer, iHeartRadio, what's up? Shout out to you. Make sure that you leave a comment, leave a review, share the link. If you are a follower of us on Instagram, you can always share today's episode on your Instagram story and just let your friends know that you're listening to the best podcast in the motherfucking world. And if you want all things WTW, all you have to do is just go to our website, WTWrecords.com. That way you get everything.
Doug, Doug,
Everything.
Doug, Doug T, motherfucking Dub, ho.
Dub T Dub. Okay, and I wanted to give a shout out to our sponsors. Number one, Annie and Co. providing the scent vibes as always. Today I have Om on, and this scent is actually a French word for man. So this is a unisex scent. It's one of my favorite of all time, and you can always go to her website and check out all the other scents that she has. The other scent that I have here is peppermint. She also has pumpkin. She has cinnamon and some other cool scents. So make sure that you head on over to Annie and Co to get your scent vibes and use our promo code to get 10% off ANC19A. And shout out to our other sponsor, His and Hers Miami Hair Studio in Miami. So make sure that you check them out. You can book an appointment online of whatever it is that you need your hair done with, and make sure that you tell them that we sent you guys, okay? So when you get that fresh lineup, when you get them curls done, all that good stuff, tell them like, yo, I heard about y'all on the Ambition Hour podcast, and I'm here and I'm so excited and I'm supporting you. So support our sponsors. Shout out to our sponsors. We appreciate you guys with all of our hearts, because since you guys love us and we love you, we get to, share the wealth with everyone. And why not? Correct. Okay, so I haven't even been off of social media for an entire week, and I completely feel out of the loop. I feel like I don't know anything about what's going on. So I tell my sister this, right? This is how I know that my sister is just like, I'm gonna say it, she's sometimes an asshole, and I love you, and I know you watch the show, and you might see this, but she's like, it hasn't even been a week, and then she got on me about that the Ambition Hour podcast Instagram page has been posting, so she automatically thought it was me. I had to let her know that it was Hav, and so she's like, it hasn't even been a week, and and I'm like, girl, listen, first of all, you don't know like how much I spend on social media. Like, I'm gonna be real honest with you guys. Being off of social media always shows me how much I am on social media and how much I depend on it. And not depend on it because like it's something that I do when I'm bored or things like that. It's like my way of communication with you guys, with people that follow me. Social media has always been a place where, I love pictures, so I can share pictures. I like sharing some of my thoughts, not all of them, Twitter. Or like even seeing like different opinions. Like I get consumed in those type of things, like when there's like a debate going on Twitter, when it's like something like that, like reading the comments and seeing what's going on and seeing it unravel in real time. And then on Instagram you see pictures and it's like instant, and it's just so much that goes into social media. And also, so it's that, and then it also comes down to, as far as like this, that's where I get the majority of my entertainment news, my regular news, even basketball like updates, football updates, all of these different things that I'm receiving from social media that I don't go out of my way without social media. I don't go out of my way to find out certain things. So I've been feeling a little out of the loop. Like, I don't know what's going on. Like, I found out that it was Diddy's birthday because of Tidal. Shout out to that. Shout out to Diddy, who just turned 50 years old, to a veteran in the game. I remember being 12 years old and saying that I wanted to work for Diddy. So that's how that's how I feel about Diddy, and to this day how I feel about him. So shout out to a GOAT. Happy birthday, man. 50 years old. That's crazy. that's a really good life at a 50-year-old. And so yeah, so there's just certain things that like I haven't been able, like Hav told me a story earlier and I was like, what? I couldn't believe my ears. So, I did want to find some information. So something that I did find out as far as entertainment and stuff goes like that. Oh, shout out to the podcast that I listened to the Joe Budden podcast, and I was able to get some juice from them. So that was pretty cool. And like that whole thing with the fucking Popeyes chicken sandwiches that y'all doing, that shit's crazy. Y'all gotta relax. Y'all gotta relax. See, I didn't know that until today. I recorded this on Wednesday, so I didn't know about that until Wednesday, and this possibly was happening during the weekend or something like that. So I didn't even know any of that was going on. But something that I did find out on my own was that Outkast and the Neptunes have been nominated to be in the Songwriters Hall of Fame. So shout out to them. Yes, sir. Legends. Fucking legends. Jay-Z was the first rapper to ever have been inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame. And then was Jermaine Dupri. And remember, if you guys listened last year, Missy Elliott was the first female rapper to have been nominated and then also inducted. So shout out to the Neptunes and Outkast for being nominated. Now, in order for you to be even nominated for this honor, you have to have had put out a single, like a part, like I guess a piece of your writing at least 20 years ago. So that means that Neptunes has been around for fucking 20 years and your girl's getting older. Because I sure was in the fucking lunchroom, like dance parties that they were having in middle school, listening to the Neptunes and Outkast and all that shit. And then I remember when Neptune started and all the songs that they produced and wrote and all the amazing things that Pharrell is just in general. And then of course, Chad. And it's just pretty cool to see them, be nominated, as well as Outkast. Outkast just, I just feel like Outkast just never gets enough credit. And so every time that they get any form of credit, I'm just like, yes, give them more credit. Give them more credit.
Missy Elliott and the Neptunes are both from Virginia.
Oh yeah. So then, nice.
And then
So
Jermaine
two
from
and Atlanta, and then Jay-Z. It's funny because Jay-Z don't be writing, but he's in the Songwriters Hall of Fame. but because I was watching Fade to Black today, and it was basically like him talking about the Black album, and like it's I always see it in clips. I've never seen like the entire thing. And so today I started watching it from like the beginning, because I guess like they just released it on time. I'm keeping my Tidal subscription now. I'm not getting paid for this. They didn't send me no promo code, nothing, but I'm staying with Tidal. I do also have Apple Music. So if either one of them wants to, give me a promo code or something like that, that'd be nice. But yeah, I'm staying with Tidal because they done came out with that video. And honestly, something I wasn't gonna talk about this right away, but I did discover a couple of artists because of Tidal, because of the albums and stuff that I listen to. What Tidal does is that they play like a song right after that is kind of like related to that person, that artist or whatnot. And it's like not even at your own will, it just happens. So then you're listening to a song and then you're like, oh shit, this is really good. Why have I never heard this before? And then you just fall into like a back to back to back to back to back type thing of just like listening to new music. So I've been consuming a lot of music because of that. The people who are super close to me know that because I'm sending it to them. Like I'll be like, I don't even say nothing. I just send them the link of the song because I don't know. I like sharing dope music with people. I think it connects us in a cool way. So if you get in songs from me, shout out to you. Okay. So I was talking about the social media cleanse. I told, like how I was telling my sister, by like week 3, I'm gonna be over that whole like I'm out of the loop shit. Probably by next week, I'll probably be over it. I've done this before, so it's not like, it's just every time is different, but every time there's something that's always the same, which is that I feel out of the loop. So then, yeah, so something that I've noticed is that I've been reading more. I've been listening to my audiobooks more. I've been, doing more personal development, thinking of my thoughts. I'm out of the loop when it comes to social media and like entertainment and all that stuff, but I'm more in tune with who I am on the inside. And that's what's important about this cleanse. So if you have ever considered one, go ahead and do one. I'm still doing my book, The Soul Coaching. I am on day 4. Something that I picked up from there was that I So it's because you have to like commit to doing like a daily thing. So one of the things that I committed to was doing absolutely nothing for 10 minutes. So ever since I started this, what's happening is that I'll do something absolutely nothing for 10 minutes and I end up like knocking out. It's never my intention. It's never nothing. Because what I do is I practice, like, I think about my breathing. I think about, like, what am I grateful for? I think about just, like, different things in that time when I'm not supposed to be doing anything. Because unfortunately, like, I can say, like, I'm not going to do anything, but, like, I can't stop my brain. So what I do is that I try to navigate my brain towards a good instead of a bad. Because if I'm in 10 minutes, imagine you're not doing absolutely anything, you don't want to hear anything, you're just in complete silence for 10 minutes, your mind is going to wander. So it's allowed me to kind of like like pull the reins on my thoughts. So that's been something that's really been helpful. Like I said last week, if you are interested in the book that I am reading, it's called Soul Coaching by Denise Lin, and it's 28 Days to Finding Your Authentic Self. I started it on purpose so that I would finish it on November 30th. This is the 5th time that I've read this book. And so I wanted to share this because since it is the 5th time that I've been reading this book, it takes me back to when I first read it. So now when I first read it, there were a couple things that were going on in my life that I had no idea what the fuck to do. I was talking about it a little earlier about how I was just completely lost. I left a place where I built a lot in, and that wasn't easy because it wasn't like the business was bad. It was just that the personal relationship wasn't good. So it was something that I had to let go. And then on the other end, it was like merp. I don't want to overshare, but it was like, somebody who I had a relationship with was moving on in a really big way. And for me at that time, like being able to process the loss of like, a friendship, and then a loss of like someone who picture an entire future with, and just going through a lot of those different transitions. Me, 5 years ago, I was 20, gonna be 25. I was 24 at the time. So there were a lot of things that my mind were going through. There was a lot of different, like, just crazy things that I'm like, how am I gonna get through this? Like, this is so hard. And then now I'm here thriving. Now I'm here, like, I done grown from those situations. And so that's why I like reading the book every year, because I just I always go back to that time where I not that I dwell on it, but just to see the growth. Like, I never believed that a book could impact me in the way that it has. So yeah, Soul Coaching, Denise Lin, it's cool. If you ever pick it up and read it, let me know. That way I can see, like, or that way you can tell me what it is that, it made you feel. Okay, so I did some random shit today, and basically what it was I wanted to highlight an episode, like a past episode. And so what I did was that I subtracted 38 from 93, and I got 55, and episode 55 was actually the one that I had my sister on. So I wanted to highlight that episode because that is like, come on, like, I got my best friend to come on the podcast and kind of like put me on my ass. And if you haven't checked out that episode, she definitely like put me on blast on a couple of things. So, as she would all the time. Sister Stephanie, I love you, girl. And you're one of the only ones who can do shit like that, and I love you. So make sure that you check out that episode. The episode is episode 55, and it's called Sister. We talk about how we met, we talk about music, we talk about just like different life experiences that we went through. And yeah, so check that episode out. Okay. So this past weekend I did mention how I spent some time with my dad. And something I've been promising my dad since I was young was he's been dying. He's wanted a Rolex for a really long time. And I can remember from like being a super young girl and telling him like that I was going to get him a Rolex. So when you're younger, you're just like, oh yeah, like by the time that he's this age, I can definitely get him a Rolex. And you're thinking that. And then that time comes and it's just like, damn, I'm nowhere near being able to get this man a Rolex. So this past weekend I was spending time with him, and we went to a jewelry store and whatnot, and he tried on a Rolex. So I'm seeing my father trying on a watch that I've seen him want since I was a kid. And so I was like, dang, this feels like real, like super real. Like I remember like being younger and being like, one day I'm gonna get it for him, and this is like, like this is something that I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna bust my ass off so I can get it for him. Unfortunately, it didn't happen at the age that I told him it would, but I feel like it's gonna happen, and and yeah, so and then seeing him like try on the watch and then put it on and then seeing it on his wrist and then seeing like just seeing how he was reacting and his body language when he put it on, like he was like a whole nother boss. Shout out to Player. That's my homie right there. He was just so funny. Like he's just the best. Shout out to my mom too. Just so no one gets jealous. Have I missed you on the side of the table? I'm not gonna lie. It's it's a little wild. Like I don't have like I don't get no reaction. I don't know if I'm being funny or not. I don't know. I don't know shit right now. So if you are listening or watching, leave some comments so your girl knows what's going on, because it's different once you're so used to having like people around you and like having two guys like react to what you're saying or even answering questions or elaborating on the topics that yeah, so shout out to my first solo episode back. Okay, so I was talking about artists that I heard from Tidal, and one of them was Xavier Omar and Sango. They have a project called Moments Spent Loving You, and it is such a good project. Like, I didn't know who Xavier Omar was, and as soon as I heard one song of his, like I wanted to hear every single one of his songs. And he has this video. Well, he has a song with, excuse me, Van Jess, excuse me, and Wale. Y'all know I love Wale, so I heard that song on like quick, and it was pretty it's so beautiful, like just like the instruments that he uses. Y'all know I'm a sucker for instruments and saxophones and like violins and little trumpets here and there and the piano, and just that's one of the reasons why I love R&B, is because of they use a lot of those elements. And yeah, so I like listened to him and I really really liked him. Another artist that I listened to and really liked was called, her name is Malia, and the project that I fell in love with is called Late Bloomer. This isn't her most recent project. Her if I would have to double check her recent project, because she dropped an EP recently, because the one that I listened to, what I just said, Late Bloomer, is from 2017. And yeah, so she dropped an EP called Ripe, and that's the most recent one that she's dropped, so make sure that you go check her out. And as this is all on love, like this is just like shit that I listen to and that I just want y'all to listen to and enjoy, because I think that it's good dope music that you guys would enjoy. I've always talked about how November is a really cool month for me, and if I haven't, I'm gonna talk about it again. November is just always a cool month. It's one of the months that I became an Herbalife distributor. I started my own boot camp in my backyard. That was around the same time the Wale Ambition album came out, end of October, so the majority of November I was listening to that project. Something I always think about. I always do a social media cleanse in November. I mainly either am finishing the soul coaching book for the last 5 years. I can't say that November beyond that was, well, five, no. Are you laughing at me?
Yes.
Oh. I'm thinking, okay, no, 5 was that I started reading the book, but November has been important since 2012, so it's been important for quite some time, or 2011, if you will. So yeah, so it's just an awesome month. It's also like kind of the time, like it's a big month for gratitude for me, because usually I feel like there's like a time, there's like a okay, so it's like I call it a rebirth. So my birth is like I have my birthday month and then I have my rebirth month, and my rebirth month always seems to be November. No one told me that, nothing, like it's just something that I've observed from my life. And you possibly have that same month, like you have a month that just like your life something. Oh my god, I think I deleted all my notes. Oh my god, they're back. Lord, I was gonna have to really freestyle this bitch. um, which I am, but yeah, so November is just always an awesome month for me. So if you have a rebirth month, share it in the comment section. That way I know that I'm not the only one who feels that they have a rebirth month. Okay, so and it's also the month that I got the new job, the job that I'm at right now is, yeah, it's the same month. So I've had my car for a year. Oh my god. That's so crazy. That's crazy that it's been a year. Oh my god. Dang. I remember when I didn't have a car, guys. Like, I legit did not have a car for like 2 years. And it was so fucking tough. And I remember when I got the car that I recently have right now, which is under my name and my name under the insurance and everything. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, so it was like just getting that car and just feeling like I can go wherever the fuck I want. And that's like a luxury that I think that sometimes when you have a car, you don't take advantage of. And not even take advantage of, but you're just not uh like, I guess, grateful for it. Like, you take it, yeah, you take it for advantage. Like, oh yeah, whatever, I have a car. But then when you don't have one and you have to like ask to borrow a car for a long time, or like having to like arrange certain things, and just like having to wake up a little earlier so you can carpool, and like just different things like that. Like, you go through that for like some time, and then you finally get your car. It's just it's different. So then that also happened in November. So it's just a really good month for me. So yeah, I'm excited. Make sure that you tune into the Ambition Hour podcast every week this November, because you just never know what I'm going to share with you guys. Okay, so something that I definitely wanted to touch on was, I'm gonna try to put this the best way possible, because they're not toxic lyrics. It's more along the lines of like lyrics that are kind of how can I say this? Like, fuck boyish. Or like, we can do it for the ladies too. Like, fuck, you can say a fuck girl. Yeah, we're gonna use the same terms for both, because we don't want to, like, and so this came about because I was listening to, well, I've been listening to Future a lot lately, because he hypes me up a lot when I'm working out. So I listen to him a lot. And so I've been listening and paying attention to his lyrics more. And something that I've noticed is that Future's been telling us that he ain't shit for a very long time. He's been telling us that for a very long time. And so, like, when people, like, when he comes out with like different amounts of baby mamas, and like, he does certain things, it's just like, why are people so surprised? Like, he's literally been telling us through all of his lyrics that, like, he doesn't give a fuck about these hoes. He's just trying to smash them. He, like, love everything. Like, I can't pinpoint specific lyrics because I don't want to butcher any of them, and I also don't want to pinpoint him or anything like that. But he is an example that I am using, because even though he has ain't shit lyrics, and even to the point where they're a little toxic, because a woman can hear that and then be like, oh my god, like, this is the only way that I can, like, this is how this man is going to love me, type thing. So that's why I believe that he has a lot of baby mamas, because, like, they listen to these lyrics and they're just like, oh no, but he's gonna be different with me, and this and that. And it's just like, no bitch, he's not. He told you, he's been telling us for the past I don't know how many albums. So then my mind starts wondering, like, but why are we attracted to this? So then I found another example that we can use, which is Bryson Tiller. Now, no Bryson Tiller slander will be tolerated ever. But the fact remains that my dog has some crazy ass lyrics that as a woman, like, listening to it, I'm like, oh my god, it goes back to he ain't shit. And so, and then I also, I listen to a lot of male podcasts, and I always hear certain things, and, I hear, like, okay, well, dudes ain't shit, but then I also hear, like, no, we are shit. And so it also goes the same for women. Like, us women, like, we ain't shit. Like, we know the game that y'all playing, and we play it with y'all, or we play it better. So we just ain't shit either. So it's not so much, Like, I'm not trying to separate the two, like, oh well, boys and then girls ain't shit. It's just like it's that we both ain't shit. And within the same I guess the same breath, um we like that. Like, I've always noticed that a guy will be more attracted to a girl who's a little bit more like bitchy, and then like a girl is gonna be more attracted to a guy who's a little bit more of an asshole, because we don't want a guy who's gonna be a pushover, who's gonna say yes to us all the time, who's not gonna say like, like, I like you, but like I ain't really trying to be with you. Like, when a dude says that, like, for some reason, like, us girls were just like, wait a minute, you don't like us? How can you not like me? And then you go into like this whole thing where you're falling for someone who literally has no interest in you. And yeah, so because I was talking to my sister earlier about this, and then and I told her because I was telling her that I was going to record the podcast, and I normally don't like to share the topics before the podcast because then outside noises come in, and so there's certain things. So I tell her about the Bryson and the Future thing, and she's just like, oh well, but women, they do songs like that too. And I'm like, I shouldn't have told you shit, because now I'm gonna be thinking about this conversation, and I'm thinking about the conversation, yes, but only because I don't want to forget a point that she made, which was men do the same thing as women. Women say like hurtful things, or like lyrics that I guess slander men, and like it's not, why is it more controversial when it's a dude that does it? And to me, it's not controversial. To me, what I feel and how I see it is that just like the opposite sex is just attracted to it. Like, we are attracted to a man who's going to say, like, I'm sorry that I'm not sorry, like, you're not the one for me. Or like, even for the example with The Recipe, which is one of my Sir songs, like one of my favorite Sir songs. Yeah, okay, yeah, that was right. I guess The Recipe is one of my favorite Sir songs, and in that song he's talking about how, like, he was hella vibing with a girl, and they're basically like in a relationship, but them actually being together isn't part of the recipe. And that's literally my favorite song on the project. So, you start to question, like, why is it that you even like a song like that? And it's just like, because is it because it's raw? Is it because it's something that you've experienced? Is it because of whatever it is? And it's just like, it's all of those things, you relate to it. And so something that I do notice is that when a woman talks or like bashes like men in songs, it's more like, oh, she's being a bitch. And then when it's a dude, that'll be seen as, oh, like, kind of like a heartthrob type thing. 'Cause that's what I'm seeing. Like, because I never thought of that until she brought it to my attention that, like, women do the same thing. So then now when I'm seeing it, I'm just like, okay, but when a woman does it, how is it perceived? It's not praised like how it is when men do it. So that's just something to think about. I guess just listening to these lyrics, like, I'm just like, wow, these are really good songs, and a lot of people enjoy these songs. And like the Bryson Tiller projects are both, well, when I talk about Bryson Tiller projects, I'm talking about Trap Soul and True to Self. I love those two. Bomb. They're so good. They're really good albums, and I've been listening to them, so I can attest to the fact that they're really good albums, but that there are a couple lyrics in there that are a little, if you know what I'm talking about. If you're a Bryson fan, or if you're a Future fan and you're a girl, let me know in the comments what you feel about what I'm talking about. Am I tripping? Let me know. Like, you can tell me, like, Adi, you tripping. Like, I know this is my podcast, but you can let me know that, okay? Just don't let me know on my personal Instagram. Let me know on the Ambition Hour. Let me know on the Ambition Hour podcast Instagram, which is just Ambition Hour, or the Twitter, which is Ambition Hour. Hav will make sure to pass on the message to me. That way we have it. I am looking at. Okay. Oh, okay. So what I did was when women do it, they're labeled as crazy or emotional, and a man is praised. I did want to mention the crazy and emotional, because that's something that I noticed that a lot of the times we just chalk it up to, is that women are emotional. And men are emotional, they're just different. Emotional. Like, they're aggressive.
Let's
still an emotion.
What?
That's still an emotion.
It is an emotion. That's what I'm saying. Like like that's men. We're all emotional. It's just that women, we do it very, very differently. Like super differently. Like having a brother and then also my dad, like just seeing like how they express their emotions differently than my mom and I is super, super cool. It allows you to understand, because something that I always say is that a man wasn't raised that way, like how a woman was. Like a woman was just like, okay, you can cry, you can this, you can, if you are angry, then you can express yourself, or you can scream, or you can this. It's just it is so cool how differently a man and a woman are raised. Like, yeah, from when you're a little kid, you're just taught differently when you're a girl, and you're just taught differently when you're a boy. And that's a cycle that I know I'm trying to break because they should be treated equally. That's just me though. Um okay, so I definitely have lately been speaking on how, being my authentic self and finding my authentic self and reinventing myself. And one of the things that I want and strive for is to live a life where I just genuinely do not care about people's opinions, about even how I react to certain things. I spoke about this last week, like if I'm like too much of a pushover, if I'm too much, like I'm so tired of caring about what other people think, that it's just something that like I genuinely want to have. And so when people who like genuinely just don't give a fuck, I'm like, oh my God, I fucking love that. And so I feel like one of the first steps that we can all take in like achieving that is by just continuously asking ourselves, like, okay, is this what you want? Like, and literally ask yourself, like, is this what you want? Is this how you feel? How does it make you feel? Does it make you feel happy? Does it make you feel sad? Is just doing this make you like, you know what I mean? Like you just have to like ask yourself. And sometimes we forget to do that. We are quicker to ask the next person how they feel about something that's going on in our lives, as opposed to us even asking ourselves. So I feel like that's the first step that we can take when it comes to living a life that, where you just genuinely don't give a fuck. And this past week I had a couple of instances to where like I had to say it, like I had to continuously tell myself, like, because then if not, like I would feel bad. And I'm tired of feeling bad for feeling a way that it just doesn't accommodate other people. Like I had to like let one of my friends know, like, listen, like I just don't give a fuck. Like I don't give a fuck. Like I'm not gonna lie about it. I'm not gonna pretend. I'm not gonna no. Like I just don't give a fuck. Like I don't care how it looks. I don't care how it makes me look. For me, at the end of the day, sometimes a no is way more powerful than a yes, because there have been times where I'll say yes because I give a fuck, and because I don't want to seem like a bad person, or I don't want, and then I'm fucking miserable. Like I am so miserable. Like, have y'all ever seen like those memes or whatever when you're like, when you agree to go to a party that you don't want to go to, and you're there for like 15 minutes, and then it's like that crazy look that the person has in the party? Yeah, like that. Like I refuse to be that person. Like when I was younger, like for sure, like because I cared about my image. I cared about what people would say. Oh my gosh, she didn't come, why didn't she come? And now it's like, will she come? You know what I mean? And will she be on time? Because that one is probably like way more, because I mean, I try to be on time for things, you know but then when you genuinely just don't care and just want to make sure that you get there and look good, then that just changes things. And for me, like, I like getting there a little late because I look good. um okay, so that was something that I definitely wanted to share with you guys, because I always like to share certain things that are going on in my life because I always feel like it's going to and can help someone and whatever it is that they're in their journey and their life. I always like to share these things like I was just saying because of those reasons. Like I don't share everything with you guys, but I do like to use certain examples to make sure that you guys know, like, number one, that I am human, and that I suffer from, like, being vulnerable. Like, it's very hard for me to be vulnerable. So when I share things like this, it's like me opening up to you guys. And yeah, so so let me know what you guys do in order for you guys to, just genuinely not care. And I know that you just don't, like, when I say genuinely do not care, I don't mean like that you don't care about anything in life. I just mean like you're just gonna be who you are, and that's just that. Okay, so let me look at my notes. Oh, okay. So as of recent, we've been finding out a lot about celebrities. And something that I've noticed, and I'm going to use this perfect example, is Summer Walker. Okay, so now Summer Walker, she hates being in social media. She hates being in the spotlight. She hates all of these things, correct? But yet she shares a lot of information with us. And it's kind of like, I guess I can relate to that in some way, but just like finding out a lot about her, like there's just some things that, like, you find out about celebrities, it's just like, I just wish I didn't know that about you. Like, I just wish, like, I just knew you for your art. You know what I mean? And then that goes back to, like, the whole social media thing. Like, the artists that I found out, like, that I found, like, yeah, I think they're cool, and yeah, I think they're that, but I don't, like, I'm not, like, rushing. I wasn't rushing to, like, I guess maybe because I didn't have the app, but I wasn't like, oh, let me follow them on Instagram because I want to see, what they like to have for breakfast, or what spots they eating at, or, like, things like that. Like, I feel like there should also just be some type of level of privacy when it comes to some of the celebrities, just so that we can just appreciate them for their art. And unfortunately, like, we just live in such a social media driven world that, we do care about those things, like, because I mean, not that I care, like, when someone is eating something, but it's just like, oh, that's cool. I wonder where that spot is. And so then when you go to eat that spot, like, oh, I remember that I saw it on so and so. Like, and it's so fucking insane, like, how much information is out there about these celebrities. And how we just, like, we're so consumed in it, and I'm guilty of that because I like being consumed in it too. But there's some artists that, like, I know too much about, and then I'm like, bro, like, I just really like your music, like, I don't need to know all of that about you. But I mean, it is what it is. Like how I've said before, like, you're the one who chooses what you see and what you don't see on your social media, so, just filter it out. I can't wait to do that when I go back to Instagram too, and, like, Twitter, is just to, like, filter out some people, because there's some people that I'm following that I really shouldn't. There's some people that I even follow me that shouldn't be following me. Like, it's getting to that point where it's like, I'm gonna start. This could happen at any time, because I mean, yeah, like, it's time. It's time. I like cleaning out my contact list because there's a lot of dead numbers in there, and I like cleaning out the people who follow me, etc. I just feel like all of those things are just so important when it comes to your mental health, because even if it's in your phone, like, you use your phone every day. So there's times where, like, you're on your phone and you might want to text somebody, and then just because you put the first letter of that person's name, like, and then now you're thinking about that, now you automatically think about that person, and then all of the instances and stuff like that that happen with that person, and it's just like, oh shit, damn, I was just trying to text my mom, but Mario came up. Fuck Mario. That's hypothetical. I'm making it up, just using an example. Okay, don't need no Mario's coming at me. I don't even know. Well, shout out to my cousin and my uncle. Those are the only ones I know. Okay, so dang it, there was something in my mind that I forgot. But yeah, so it's very important to just, like, what is it, clean the clutter out of your phone, out of your Instagram, out of everything. I'm like, I love that. I love clean, and I talked about cleaning out your closet and all that stuff too. So, and it's good for your mental health. So something that I also am seeing based on me being off of social media and even just reading this book is unhealthy patterns. So, a lot of us have unhealthy patterns. We don't realize them because we're not aware of them. We're not aware of what an unhealthy pattern may be, because an unhealthy pattern isn't standing in front of you with the label that says that it is an unhealthy pattern. So, I'm looking up the definition of unhealthy patterns so that way we know what we're talking about. Um Okay, so it's relationship patterns, and that's not what I want to talk about. But I guess we will because relationships are very popular on the Ambition Hour podcast. A lot of you guys like them. Wonder why. Y'all be going through it out there. Them street. Yo, dating is not easy. Jesus Christ. Dating is very interesting, and it's very psychological, and it's very you have to like look at yourself a lot, like when you are in the dating scene, and kind of like not change stuff about you, but also kind of be like, oh shit, like you have to recognize some of your flaws, so that way when you do get into a relationship with someone, or when you go out on a date with somebody, like not that you're like, oh, these are my flaws, but you kind of work on them. You kind of break the unhealthy patterns that come with just your flaws, because sometimes when you haven't been in a relationship for a long time, you tend to be a little bit more selfish, and you just think everything for you because you were single for such a long time that you never had to think about somebody else. So then when you get into a relationship with somebody else, or even when you're dating, or even when you're communicating, that's the thing that like a lot of people forget, is that like the first part of like when you're talking and communicating and getting to know each other, like even then, like there's things that you have to like really know about yourself so you can break that unhealthy pattern. We're changing it to relationship one. So an example of an unhealthy relationship pattern is being too dependent. Relationships need to be nurtured. They cannot flourish if they are left on their own. Your relationship ought to be one of the top priorities in your life. Of course, your relationship should not be your whole life. If you are reluctant to make plans that do not require both of you to participate until you are sure your partner has no plans, you may be giving too much weight to your relationship. This is a common form of dependent behavior. Another is not willing to allow the other person to do things on their own, or failing to respect their need for alone time. So, if a homeboy is way too dependent on you, then that's a little sign of an unhealthy pattern. Something that I did learn in being in a relationship and being single now is that I do need my alone time, because there's times where like I really just need to be in a room by myself with no interruptions, with no one coming to talk to me, with nothing, like just absolute alone time. And so what happens is when you're in a dependent relationship, to where it's like you guys have to do everything together, like there's no such thing as girls night, boys night, there is no such thing as like, or like there, y'all seen them couples that like even work out together. Yeah, that's cute. That's super cute. It's so cute when you work out with your partner. But if you find yourself not being able to go to the gym, if it's not with your partner, then that's a little too dependent, and it's no longer cute, because now it's like, okay, so then what happens if y'all break up? Now you're not going to the gym, and now you're being unhealthy, and I've seen that happen plenty of times. And then that kind of sucks, because it's just like, dang, like y'all had a good thing going, and then now look at what happens. You're not even going to the gym anymore. And so that that like you just have to be mindful of like being overly dependent on your partner. And then there's another one that says being too dependent. And this obviously I'm not going to get super into that because I just got into the whole dependent one. So basically like you don't want to be too independent to where you're making decisions on your own and you're not communicating with your partner, because the last thing that you want to do is that. Because when you are in a relationship, you have to make sure that you're communicating things with your partner, because at the end of the day, if you plan to build a life with this person, you kind of sort of had to communicate with them about a lot of things that can affect both of you in the long run. So the third one is not being willing to make sacrifices. Being in a relationship inevitably requires making sacrifices. You cannot live your single life and still be part of a committed long-term relationship. Needless to say, if you and your significant other are exclusive, you cannot cheat on each other. Relationships require numerous, if minor, sacrifices. If all comes down to making responsible agreements with each other that satisfy some of each other's wishes, even when they go against your own. So so you just have to make some sacrifices, like even in your friendship relationships and even in your own life. Like even in your own life, you don't want to be too dependent on something. You don't want to be too independent. Because at the end of the day, you need other people sometimes to help you with something. You know what I mean? Like you can't always just be like, no, I can do it myself. You have to kind of like allow people to help you sometimes. And then the sacrifices, like sometimes like this past weekend, I had to make a sacrifice this weekend in order for you to gain something from that sacrifice. And so you have to be willing to make a couple of sacrifices in everything that you may do in life. So yes, these are relationship ones that I found on the internet, but you bet you darn tootin' that I'm going to switch it into a life lesson because there's always a life lesson when it comes down to these type of things, when it comes to relationships, because relationships don't start until you start the relationship with yourself first. So that's something that's super important. So if all these patterns and all of these like these things, like they start with you first, because you need to be in a really healthy relationship with yourself before you can get into a healthy relationship with another person. This is why a lot of relationships don't last long, because the person is too dependent on the other person, is too dependent on somebody else doing something for them, even loving them. Like that's how unhealthy some of these patterns are, is that we sometimes don't even recognize that we don't even love ourselves, which is why we're not happy in a relationship, because the person isn't loving us how we want to be loved, but we don't even know how we want to be loved because we never took that time to do that. Of course, I'm not talking about myself, because I've learned I've learned that I need to love myself and that I cannot be happy in a relationship if I did not love myself. And I am falling in love with myself more each and every single day. Like there's times in the morning where I'm like, damn girl, you you are so beautiful. Like damn, you're more beautiful than you were yesterday. And I tell myself that I love myself, and I take the proper actions that show me that I love myself, by like working out, by eating healthy, by consuming good things, by even taking a social media break. So number 4 is being unable to communicate about things that bother you. So this happens in relationships, of course. This is a healthy thing, but it also happens in just your everyday relationships. As far as like sometimes with coworkers, like a coworker will do something that'll annoy you, and you won't say nothing about it, and you'll just let it linger. And then your coworker tells you that they need to borrow a pencil, and you're just like, well, no, Nancy, you're a fucking bitch. It's like, I just wanted a pencil. And it's because she did some shit that you didn't like a long time ago, and now she's asking you for something, and you've just been festering up that, obviously I'm just using this as an example, because when it comes down to it, when you're in a relationship, your man does something and you won't say nothing to him how it made you feel for a super long time, and then you guys are having a fight about something, and then you bring that up, and then now you guys are arguing about something that happened damn near 3 months ago, and all he was just trying to see was what you were trying to eat. And it's like, okay, so now we not gonna eat probably not gonna have sex after, and now we're just mad at each other. So this is something that's very unhealthy because look at how much it trickles down to. Like, you're just gonna be very agitated with people. So communication is key. I say this all the time, can't stress it enough. And the last one is explicitly or implicitly encouraging inequality. Wow, I wasn't expecting that one. Although the norm in American culture today, at least among younger adults, is to assume that people should be equal in relationships, it remains easy to unwittingly carry on with old fashioned inequality patterns. But equality is essential to a healthy long term relationship. If you and your partner both have full time jobs, you should contribute equally to household tasks, including cooking, cleaning, shopping, planning, and taking care of the children after work hours. Some couples realize that they can divide up these tasks in such a way that makes sense for them. If one person is a great cook and the other one prefers doing the dishes, they may agree that one cooks and the other one cleans up afterwards. Bae, I got the dishes. I got you on the dishes. If you want to cook, cook. I got you on the dishes though. And I've always said that, like, I remember like growing up and talking to my mom and having these conversations. I was just like, Mom, I just want a man who can like clean, who can cook for himself, who can I can cook for myself. But would I rather not cook? Yes, I would rather not cook. Like but I would always say, like, like a man who can cook, a man who can iron his own clothes, and just like things that are deemed to be for women, but the man knows how to do it as well. And that's because I always believe that there should be equality. Like, you're a grown-ass man, like, I love you, but there's just some things that you got to do for yourself. Like, this isn't that type of party. Okay, so I've always expressed that. So yeah, the inequality and equality within a relationship, and that's also the unhealthy pattern that we do, even at work. Or I'm using work a lot this week because work has been a crazy as fuck these past 2 weeks. And for those that don't know, I work with something that correlates with school schedules. So people are going back to school now, so they're signing up for, like, it's undergraduate admissions and things like that. So things have just been really crazy at work, so I've been using it as an example a lot. And okay, so yeah, so it's just like, even at work, like, there's just certain things like, oh well, I won't get, like, I guess, like, the water jug, the big water jug. Like, a man is supposed to do that. Girl, if you don't get that water jug, put that water jug up. I do that. Why? Because I'm not going to sit and wait for nobody to put in guys, these water jugs are like half my damn size, but I'll pick them bitches up and put them on the little water filter, the little water fountain that they have. Yeah, like, because I'm not going to wait. Because I believe in equality. I believe that we should all be able to do it. Like, I don't know, I'm 4'11" and a half and I'm picking up this thing like it's nothing. Like, yes, I do work out and all these things, but then there's also other examples that I can use that, like, I just won't wait. Okay, so those are unhealthy patterns that I wanted to share with you guys, and I am sharing them so that way you can acknowledge them, that way you learn to break them. So if you're too dependent, if you're too independent, if there's no equality, if there is no communication within you and your relationships, or even with yourself, like, it's time to break those unhealthy patterns. That way you can stop blocking your blessings and move forward in this beautiful, wonderful life. Are we at the hour mark? Oh, yeah. Dropping bombs on them. Boom, 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 boom. Dropping bombs on them. We got 5 minutes. What is going on here? All right, so I'm gonna check my notes real quick. Okay, so we talked about Gauze's video, Streetlights 2, that dropped. I want to say thank you to everybody who has been checking the video out. We appreciate you guys. This is Gauze's first video, so we are all very proud. This is a T-Dub artist that
motherfucking dub, ho.
Yeah, and so he's an awesome, one of the good artists that we have here on T-Dub, and he drops his videos, so make sure that you check that out. I also wanted to give a shout out to everybody who was a part of the first place video shoot that we did this past week. all the ladies, Ishi, Yan, Spitz, the girls, Anna, Evelyn, Roxy and Yuli. You guys were awesome. Oh, and shout out to Tata. She was a part of there too. I got to see her again. That was a lot of fun. And that was pretty cool. Like just, just shooting the video and then seeing it like come alive. And I love that shit. Like I remember being younger and wanting to always be in like making the video, the one that they would have on MTV. I always wanted to be a part of that. So then now that I get to do that is pretty cool. And just being a part of it and seeing the behind the scenes and then seeing it come together. Yeah, I was born for this. Like I was born for this. Like when I on Sunday, I had a really cool Sunday because I Sunday. Oh, I had to go to the office on Sunday, which was annoying as fuck. And that was it's crazy because I fought with myself so much about going in to work because it's like they don't pay me enough to be going in on no damn weekends and this and that and da 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 da. But then my gut told me that I should definitely go. And so I did against my will. I made a sacrifice. I went into work. I organized myself and then it was cool because like then right after I went and had lunch. I went to Wood Tavern and I had lunch. And then I went to go shoot the music video. And then after the music video, like I went to the gym. So I like look at that and I'm like, oh wow, like look at what my life has turned into. Like, like yeah, the whole going to work and like going to the office was definitely not like what I'm like, oh wow, look at my life. But it's just like look at what my life has turned into. Like, I have a full-time job that I'm very grateful for. And then I also have like going to like the music videos or like even when I go to the studio or even like shooting the podcast. Honestly, even going to the NWO Halloween party was something that was really cool. That is like part of like what part of what I'm doing. Like I want to be surrounded by people that are like-minded who are doing the same things as me. And so when I see where my surroundings and I see the people that I'm around and I see like, okay, like I have creators, I have rappers, I have producers, I have other podcasters around me, and it's like, wow, I'm really heading in the right direction. And I would have never thought 5 years ago, let alone 2-3 years ago, that my life would be like this. So remember that you're always the writer of your own journey. You have the right, thank you. You have the right to change anything in your life. When I decided to leave Herbalife and decided to get serious with like the label and even start the podcast, like when I did that and I made that decision, like I remember going through so many different thoughts in my head, like what are people going to think? Like I've been doing Herbalife for like 5 years and I'm not at a certain level and it changed my life and I feel so passionately about it, but I'm not happy about it like how I used to be. Like I'm not in love with it how I used to be. And what if like I would have never been like no, fuck that, like I'm not gonna do it anymore. Like this is what I want to do. I want to start like getting more into music. I want to start my own podcast. Like imagine if I wouldn't have made that decision. Like I wouldn't be here today, 93 episodes in, guys. I would not be here today if I didn't decide and make the decision that enough was enough, that I could no longer continue to live a life that somebody else was picking for me and was feeding me the vision. You know what I mean? Not to talk bad about anybody, like no one was forcing me to do anything, but when you're so consumed in something sometimes, with whether it be a relationship, a business, yeah, I feel like those two are like the best. Wherever it is that you are in, you can get out and you can make a better life and you can make better decisions and you can reinvent yourself as many times as you want. Something that like I remember thinking, I'm just like, oh, so I went from ambition. I went from Ambition Fit Girl to now I'm Audi Ambition, and what are people gonna think, and just all of those things. And then now that I think about it, I'm like, shit, none of that shit even fucking matters. Like all that shit that I was thinking about, and all those doubts that I had, and all those fears that I had, and all that shit, like that means nothing anymore. Like this is my 93rd episode. Like I would have never believed, like if we would have talked about this 2-3 years ago, no, because it's gonna be 2 years in January. So 2 years ago, yeah, 2017. We weren't doing this podcast yet. 2 years ago in November. If you would have told me that we would have been doing this now, I wouldn't have believed it. Not because I didn't believe in myself, but because that wasn't like I was still rewriting. You know, I was still rewriting what I wanted the rest of my life to be like, and so yeah, guys, it was awesome sharing this time with you guys. I appreciate it. Didn't think, actually, I knew that I could talk on a whole hour. I knew I could talk a whole hour by myself because, I mean, let's face it, I am just a shit like that. And so shout out to Haven Spitz, my co-host. Shout out to Hav for being my audio visual today. I appreciate that. I appreciate you for tuning in yet again to another episode of the Ambition Hour podcast. Remember to mind your business, drink your water, and stay ambitious. It's probably not that order, but we're gonna figure it out so I can say it smoother. But yeah, so just remember to just also always just do what you want to do. Be unapologetically you at all times. You know, like don't say sorry. Like don't do something if you're gonna end up apologizing, as our brother Kanye once said.
Halfway. Take a few steps back. You ain't got the answers, man.
Like he said, like just do it and be you, and don't give a fuck, and just go like balls to the wall for your dreams and your aspirations, and let go of unhealthy patterns, and love yourself and fall in love with yourself, and love other people and appreciate other people, and let them know that they mean something to you, and don't be afraid to do so. All right. So for the 93rd fucking time in a row, it's your girl Adi 3000, and we are out.